So I am here just reading Our Daily Bread, this devotional series book, and I just found it that is very practical, that you can read. They give you scriptures for you to read, and it also provides like a little commentary and narrative to help you better understand the context of the scripture text. And so I find that doing this daily is very it's a simple way of getting the word into your life every day. So that's why I'm here recording this. I just thought it'd be great to do, and that we can reap the benefits of it. And just because I just found it so beneficial. So simple as that. So getting right to the scripture. Nehemiah 6 and 1 through 9. Now it happened when Ballet, forgive me for, I'm going to butcher that one. I haven't looked it up yet. I just went forth and started reading. Now it happened when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arab, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had rebuilt the wall and that there was no breaks left in it, though at the time I had not hung the doors and the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come, let us meet together among the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me harm. So I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and go down to you? But they sent me this message 4 times, and I answered them in the same manner. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me as before, the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand. And in it was written, it is reported among the nations, and Geshem says that you and the Jews plan to rebel. Therefore, according to these rumors, you are rebuilding the wall that you may be their king. And you have also appointed prophets to proclaim concerning you at Jerusalem, saying, there is a king in Judah. Now these matters will be reported to the king. So come, therefore, and let us consult together. Then I sent to him, saying, no such thing as you say are being done, but you invent them in your own heart. For they all were trying to make us afraid, saying, their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will not be done. Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. I know that was a rough read, because I don't know, for whatever reason, I just was like fighting with my tongue to read that. But anyway, the lesson text that they are highlighting in this devotional is, I prayed, now strengthen my hands. So what has been going on, I guess, is there's been conspiracy against Nehemiah. Like he said, he brought it out to them that in verse 8, no such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your own heart. So they're making up stuff to accuse him, to keep him from doing the work that God had called him to do, to stop the work. And that is rebuilding the wall. But let me read the devotional narrative that will better help us understand this. Driven by powerful winds, the fire raged for days. Let me go back. The title is Faith and False Accusations. Faith and false accusation. Driven by powerful winds, the fire raged for days. The historian Tacitus describes a chaotic scene filled with screams and citizens running for their lives. In the end, nearly 2/3 of Rome had been destroyed. The Roman Emperor Nero falsely accused believers in Jesus of starting the fire. He hated Christians and selected them to be the scapegoat for the disaster, one that was rumored to have been ordered by Nero himself. Nehemiah also faced the blistering heat of false accusation. He'd been a servant of the king of Persia, but had been allowed to return to Jerusalem with other Israelites to repair its wall. Nehemiah 2:1-10. When the wall was repaired, however, enemies accused the Jews of planning to rebel and making Nehemiah their king. 6:6 NLT. How did they respond to false accusations? By declaring and living out their innocence, courageously standing in God's power, and praying fervently to Him. Their enemies were ultimately frightened and humiliated as they realized the wall reconstruction had been done with the help of God. At times, we will be falsely accused by others, but as God provides the strength we need, we can forgive our accusers and live such good lives that though they accuse us of doing wrong, they may see our good deeds and glorify God. So the question they pose is, why are believers in Jesus sometimes falsely accused? And this other part of that is, how can you live out a courageous faith? To the first question, why are believers in Jesus sometimes falsely accused? We can just go down the road and say, just because they're haters, they hate us. Yeah, that's why we're falsely accused, because they don't want us to succeed. They don't want, or jealousy too. Like people want to, in this day and age, people are all about self and it's about their self-interest. So they don't want to see you succeed. They want to be on top. I think I hear stories about people like when they share their dreams with people and their ambitions, and people like shut it down because they don't want to see them do good. They used to them being the person that always needs them. And so they don't want that. They don't want change. They want to be needed. I find that in families a lot, that people, it can be when kids go away to school and they grow up, parents have a hard time adjusting. But not saying that could be like that they're falsely accusing their kids, no, of different things, making up stuff. But I'm just saying, like, this happens in life. It happens at work. It happens in the church. It happens. We're falsely accused because of whatever reason. It may not be even a good reason, but it could be because of jealousy. It could be because of control. There's many scenarios. So why are believers in Jesus falsely accused? And the other part is, how can you live out a courageous faith? It's just how can I live out a courageous faith? By just trusting the Lord and standing on His word. I know that's the goody two shoes answer, but that's all we got to do, because if He says it and He gives us something to do, we have to do it. If we're not, and letting people sway us and fear us off, He's just going to get somebody else to do it. And His plans will come to pass, whether we like it or not. Whether we are part of it or not. So it's up to us just to be obedient and not let people's accusations really get to us. I know it's easier said than done. You can say, "Oh, I'm not going to let nobody touch me. Nobody can say nothing that will knock me off my path." But we're human. It does. We do care, and definitely if we care about people and they're not a fearful like care about people and worry about what people think, but it's just you genuinely value that person. That can be very hard. But it says here, loving God, thank you. This is the prayer. Loving God, thank you for helping me when I am falsely accused. It happened to Joseph when I'm thinking about it. Joseph was falsely accused um, with Potiphar's wife. That was something that he didn't do, and he was doing what's right. So that is a great example, actually, of somebody who's falsely accused and just sticking and being courageous, sticking to the truth. And that's what we're to do when we're falsely accused. We just continue in the way that God has, continue doing, being obedient, continue trusting Him. That's what we do. So I thank you for joining me for this. See how simple that is, just to, it gets your mind active. That's what I like about it. It gets you to thinking about everything else you can come in to prayer and come into reading the scripture with. When you get into reading the scriptures and then reading the narrative, it just pulls you deeper into understanding like the essence of what the scripture was saying, what values. Like you get to see the gold there. I mean, it's up to you if you look at it even more, you probably can get more from it. But that's just from a 10 minutes like segment, or 5 to 10 minutes, just from reading the devotional, reading the scriptures. And if you meditate on it, you would get more. But just from reading in this time frame, you get it just gets your mind to thinking about the spiritual aspects, thinking about things deeper than just the present. Because we can read scripture and it just go over our head. We just read it on face value. But this enables you to just to go a little deeper. Then on your own, you can go even deeper. So I am just grateful for this. It is just that beneficial. It makes reading the word easier. It is easy to read anyway, because thankfully we can read, and we have the Bible with us, so we can read it anytime. But it makes it that much more, what can I say, within our time frame. It makes it that much more doable, practical in our busy lives, to make this important and make it a part of our day. And if we do it at the beginning of the day, we get to feast on it throughout the day, hopefully. It's an opportunity more so to meditate on it. So yeah, this is the devotional, Faith and False Accusations. Nehemiah 6:1-9. Thank you.